Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Welcome from sunny San Diego, and that's why I got the curtains pulled together. I started to go up on a rooftop, but it's about 50 degrees, and I thought, you know what? That's just not the way I roll. So, how's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing great. If you've been here before, welcome back. We're glad to have you here. We really are. If you've never been here before, well, welcome to the Trade Talks Live. We've got a variety show here where we talk about 11 different topics, everything that can help bring value to you being in the trades. So hang around. If you've got questions, please drop them in the comments and put a Q in front of it. That way we know to make sure that we get to it. We try to get to everything, but those with the Q in front of it, we definitely do. So I'm in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World. This is where I first learned about YouTube. So, Square, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing lovely this morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Been running around here this morning, saving the day, getting rid of, some more field mice that just keep coming in from all these rains. Just
Are y'all getting
handling the
rain?
office. Yeah. So I got back. It was wet. It's been raining pretty consistently
Okay.
during the evenings. So I was just kind of like, wow, okay. Uh,
Anything flooded or just a little bit of rain?
No, just a little bit of rain. Some pretty decent water. I think I'm gonna have to get us a mower soon. The grass is rising pretty quickly now.
Yeah, we know we're going to have to get a mower soon.
We are getting into that time of year.
It is what it is. It's the world we live in. We do what we got to do. Square, take just a minute and tell us about our sponsor, Leak Pro.
We do want to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks, letting us come in here and hang out and talk trades for an hour. But Leak Pro does build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. And what we do, we build a couple different pieces of equipment. I've got a probe just for that outdoor leak detection purposes, for that meter to the home service or irrigation lines, things like that. And then I also build a sidekick just for that indoor. Whenever you go inside and that leaks in the home, you really want this sidekick because the aluminum rod, it just enhances the sound more. So if you're listening through slabs or anything like that, it kind of eliminates that layer so you can actually locate these leaks under a home. If you want to check out the equipment, visit leak-pro.com. But also, if you don't know anything about it, I do a 2-day in person training here just outside of Dallas, Texas, where I teach you to locate lines. I've got 11 leaks under a slab, one outside of the slab, so that you can learn to locate leaks. And then I also do a sewer training where you can actually determine where in a sewer system that it's actually leaking uh, by isolating all the branch lines from that double clean out outside of the home. And if you want to learn anything about the training or talk about equipment, give me a call at 1-8888 Leak Pro, or once again, visit the website leak-pro.com.
You know, we've trained a lot of good people, and I love the messages that we get. I noticed that you sold another complete kit this morning. You're just, look, things are going good. I think plumbing companies are starting to realize that with the leak detection companies, that's all they do. And I say that's all they do. They're all growing into plumbing. That way, if they go out and do the leak detection, they say, "Hey, we're here. We can fix it." But a lot of the companies are realizing with leak detection specialists 6 weeks out, it's easier to just train their people how to do it, and then they can go out and do it, and it works really, really well. So I love to see you doing as well as you're doing. Let's jump into the national news because we got some crazy stuff coming on into Texas, baby.
Hey, Dow and X Energy submit construction permit for nuclear project in Texas.
Are we going to build a little Chernobyl?
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe
I,
a,
I hope not. I hope not.
maybe not quite like that. Maybe a little
Okay.
better.
You're probably so young you don't even know what Chernobyl is. So go ahead.
I've heard some. Dow, in collaboration with X Energy, has submitted a construction permit application to the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, for an advanced nuclear project at Dow's Seadrift manufacturing site in Texas. This initiative aims to replace existing natural gas fired equipment with four XE100 small modular reactors. We talk modular a lot. Here it comes in the nuclear sector. Uh, each capable of producing 80 megawatts of electricity, totaling 320 megawatts. The project is expected to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by approximately 500,000 metric tons annually.
Wow.
500,000 metric tons. Wow.
That's a lot of greenhouse gases right there.
That's it. If approved, this construction could begin later this decade, with operations commencing in the early 2030s.
Okay, so you've got some great key points here. The innovation in energy. We understand that SMRs offer a flexible and scalable approach to nuclear energy, potentially revolutionizing power generation for industrial applications. Now, when we were in Las Vegas at RISCON, we got to hear Todd Alt and Christy Nome talk about the fact that South Dakota is manufacturing basically a nuclear reactor on wheels. That they can build it on a trailer, ship it out, send it to a location, man, you plug into it, it creates your energy source. Man, you want to talk about going off the grid? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure nuclear reactors are not cheap, but man, can you imagine that? I mean, you've got a basically, and I'm going to say unlimited supply of energy right there in a trailer. And I doubt that it's unlimited. We'd have to check some information. But I mean, that is just phenomenal to know that you could pull up an 18-wheeler or two and run something as big as a data plant, because that's what they were talking about using these for. So I love the innovations coming along. But the environmental impact is transitioning to nuclear power can significantly reduce carbon emissions and aligns with global sustainability goals. And me being a lead AP, guys, look, I believe in sustainability. I think that we need to start building a greener world each and every day. So I see all that. And then the regulatory process, the NRC's review process for the construction permit may take up to 30 months, highlighting the rigorous evaluation required for nuclear projects. I mean, 30 months to get your permit approved, basically, is what we're looking at right there. And we have construction companies that complain because it takes a week.
That's it. But that just shows you the process, the rigorous process, obviously, that these are going to be put through before they let these roll down this road to a location and be able to be plugged in.
Can we order one for the outhouse?
Possibly.
I mean, I'm thinking we know Christy Nome. Maybe we both reach out to her and say, Christy, look, we've seen your plumbing video. We want you to help out a bunch of plumbers here in Texas.
Yeah, we need it to power our bidet toilet seats.
Absolutely. I mean, do you know how big a deal that is? I think you're onto something right there.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll over into website review, because I love this. You're talking, and I know you should be talking probably about electricians today, but we're talking plumbing too. So you've got electriciantalk.com and plumbingzone.com.
Yes. So both of these, it's a dedicated online forum where if it's your trade, you want to talk about it, you've got questions, get on here. It's an open forum. You can talk to people of the world that are in that trade, get some tips and suggestions, things like that. It's kind of like your community we've got on Discord, where occasionally, if you're having a problem with something, hey, throw a picture in there, man. There's a bunch of plumbers that are going to want to chime in and show you who they are and what they know, which is great for the people that are running into something they've never seen before. So that's one of my favorite things about this. It's just a good spot to go and communicate with like-minded people around your trade. And I like to spotlight some of these types of websites, because anywhere that you can gain more knowledge to better yourself at what you do on a daily basis, it's a good site to check out.
I want to give a quick shout out, and I know we normally don't do this early, but Nightlight says, on my way to test an entry exam. So number one, congratulations to you, Nightlight. I hope everything goes well. I hope you've been watching a lot of plumbing videos so you learn some answers, but I also hope that you've watched the ones about the soft skills and getting hired and things like that, because I think that we've got a lot of great information out there. All right, it's great. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
So like on Electrician Talk, they've got community engagement, a platform where electricians share their experiences, troubleshoot issues, and discuss industry trends. So, like, we're always talking about going to trade shows, things like that. You've got the latest and greatest. You saw a cool tool, come back and throw it out on the forum because not everybody got to make it to that trade show or see that tool.
Hmm.
And you can get a pretty active forum going among the community, just discussing all the new things that are coming out. Uh, Knowledge sharing, I mean, that's just everything to anybody coming in is trying to gain the knowledge. I always preferred to try to work with oldest guy on the job because guess what? He's been doing it longer than everybody else. He's more experienced, so hopefully he's going to have the best tips out of everybody out there. So try to find some of these knowledge banks and tap into them because it just makes you a better you, honestly.
And I like this. In the plumbing zone, you still got the professional discussions. Focuses on plumbing specific topics, including installation practices, code compliance, and emerging technologies. And I love the emerging technologies because we talk, look, every day there's new tools, new materials, new techniques, new equipment every single day in our trade. And places like this are where you can learn about it. Right here, places where you can learn about it. Randy is so good at gathering information to talk about in these shows. So I love this. But on the Plumbing Zone, you've also got a resource library, provides access to articles, tutorials, and product reviews tailored to plumbing professionals. And I will give you some advice here. Engage in these forums. Engaging in them can enhance professional knowledge, provide networking opportunities, and keep tradespeople informed about the latest industry developments. And that's a lot of what we're trying to do. I love the fact when people come in, they comment, and we always try to get people in the comments to connect with each other, follow each other, learn from each other. If not like you put your real name in there, or you reach out to either Randy or me on LinkedIn, connect with us, then we know who you are. And that always just, to me, it brings a little bit more to the group, because now you're part of it. You get to know each other on a different level.
Yeah, the more you actually post in these communities, the more they all become friends for sure. Especially if you know what you're talking about.
So material costs keep going up.
They do. Supply chain disruptions, increase in demand, and tariffs. Like everything's getting added to. We know that. So you're going to have to learn how to kind of deal with it to manage it, because it's going to be a lot of challenges that are coming. If you can't get your materials to finish your job, that's going to be a big issue. You could have to reach out to a lot of different suppliers, maybe some that you don't normally reach out to because all ears are slammed by everybody else. Well, you may need that smaller shop that has it sitting on the shelf that you didn't know about. So you really want to establish relationships with multiple suppliers to mitigate the risk of shortages and negotiate better pricing. I was an estimator for years, and honestly, guys, keeping that relationship where y'all are talking on a weekly basis, kind of, even if it's just for a few minutes, it will save you so much time, effort, and money in the future. Because if you've got that relationship, when y'all have that few minute conversation, he's gonna be like, oh, hey, PVC is going up 25% this week. Just want you to know, be aware, it's coming this Friday. They haven't officially released it, but that's when they're going to do the release, and it'll be in effect a couple weeks later. So try to lock in what you need. Just getting those little insights will save you a lot of money.
I love that you're talking about that, Randy, because literally, like, water heaters would be going up 20% at a time, and we would get an email a couple of weeks in advance, sometimes even a month in advance, saying, hey, look, we've been notified by the supplier the price is going to go up at this date. And you start looking back at your data and say, well, you know what? We install about 10 water heaters a month. What if we go ahead and buy 20? That way, we get 20 of them without the price going up. We can either pass that savings on to our customer, or we can say, look, that's profit that's going to help us not raise the price as much on the next 20. There's different ways you can look at it, but to me, I always look at it as how can we better take care of our customer. So I think it's great when you have that relationship with the supply house like that.
Yeah, and then like one of my favorites is implement the just in time inventory where you order out that whole job, but it's like, oh, everything on this list comes this date. 2 weeks later, I need this next set of material to come in, and then this, and then you're not. It's not excess storage on the job site, things like that. Uh, and a lot of your vendors, they'll store that material. They're not going to charge you any extra for that. There's no extra delivery fees and stuff. It's like, no, if you plan all that out at the beginning, hey, no problem. It's all in the bid. We got you covered. We'll handle that. You don't have to have extra storage space, things like that on the job. So that's really going to help. Um, Also, utilizing alternative materials. We talk about that a lot. There's a lot of new things coming out. Check some of these alternatives. Check that spec. See what all the options are that you can possibly use on that job site, and see if any of them will help you save money.
And I love that you mentioned that, Randy, because we talk every day about there's new tools, materials, equipment, and technology every single day. Well, you know what? There's different brand toilets, there's different brand faucets, there's different brand flush valves. You can always say, hey, look, you don't have this brand in the specs yet, but I'd like to submit it. I know, and you as an estimator, you know more about that
Yeah.
than me. But I mean, man, there's nothing wrong with looking at what else is out there.
That's it. Like it makes me think of I was sitting down with this large company and we were talking about why is this so high? Why is it going to cost so much? Well, look, bud, like you wanted this $2,000 strainer. I can get the same strainer for $600, but it's not that brand. Mesh is the same. Everything is the same. It's just manufactured somewhere else.
Yeah, and you've
It's
got 25 of them on the job,
it's
so I can save you a realized savings of $25,000 right there in one switch.
in one switch, and he's just like,
Yeah,
"Oh, do it.
yeah.
Thanks. Hey, you just saved the whole bid. Everything's in. We're in budget now. No problem." Oh, that meeting
And
that
here,
meeting went really well in about 5 minutes. Great.
and here's the good thing about that: a lot of other people bidding the job aren't doing that. So you end up winning jobs just because you're smart enough to do a little research and communicate with people. And this is something that, I mean, a lot of project managers, a lot of estimators, a lot of people just don't do it. They're just like, look, this is what they asked for. Okay, let's give them an idea and sit down and talk with them. Say, look, we want to be on your team. And the best way that we can help be on your team is say, look, there's alternative materials here that we could use that's going to do the exact same thing. It's built the exact same way. It's got a different brand name on it, but it works just as well. And we've used them in the past. Are you okay with this? Yes, we are.
That's it.
Jackpot.
Like, man, because being the guinea pig for MegaPress, anytime I was estimating and I saw a fit, it was like, hey, would you mind if I bid this in MegaPress? Because I knew how much labor it was going to save me. And it's like, man, if I can save me on labor, I can compete with anybody.
And I love that you pick up MegaPress because there's a lot of jobs that I looked at as a residential service plumber that it's like, look, I don't have to take the entire gas line apart. I can tap in right here because I have MegaPress and I can do this. And they're like, well, the other plumber said it was going to take him a week in the attic. Okay, it probably will. I can do that in about 30 minutes.
That's it. Because you knew about the new material equipment.
Absolutely.
Like, and that's
Now,
huge.
when it comes to adjusting your contracts, Randy, are there anything that you can do to help understand that, a price increase, we know they're going to happen sometimes. What can you do in your contract?
You want to include an escalation clause in there that locks in your pricing for X amount. But if something happens, if tariffs just come out in after we sign this contract that none of us knew about, well, look, it's part of the final customer that ends up having to pay that. It's not just, oh, I won the contract, so I got to eat it. No, that's not how it works. We actually do try to keep the world partially fair, even though we know it's not all the way.
I got a question there. Do most general contractors have escalation clauses in their contract with the end user, with their final customer?
Some do, some don't. It just kind of depends on the GC and the project, I feel like for the most part, because the larger the projects get, the more likely it's going to have this escalation clause. Because if it's a real small project, okay, the materials went up a little bit. Well, guess what? There wasn't much material on the job, so it's not really going to affect the bottom line that bad. So it just kind of depends on the project.
I like that. Okay, let's move down into service work, and I love what you're talking about today. The implementing preventative maintenance programs, and really these are called memberships. If you're a residential company, there's something that I highly recommend, and a lot of the best practice groups are helping people put these together every day, and it's a great way to create recurring monthly revenue for your company, and it sets the price low enough. But also, what it does is it locks them in as your customer. Meaning, if they've got a service agreement with you, they're not calling anybody else. They are signed up with you for a reason, but that they involve regular scheduled inspections and servicing of equipment to prevent unexpected failures and extended asset lifespan. If you're an HVAC company, this is phenomenal because you get to get in and look at their HVAC unit twice a year. Now, one of these times a year, hopefully you're breaking it down, you're cleaning it up, you're putting it back together, you're doing everything right. But it's your opportunity to come in and do a 360-degree inspection. But say they've got an agreement with you and they've been with you 3 or 4 years. Well, now it's time for a new unit. Well, you're already there. It's like, hey, look, this unit, we've been taking really good care of it, but it's time to either completely rebuild it and make it new or just go ahead and upgrade to a new system. Now, the benefits, the cost savings, it reduces the likelihood of costly emergency repairs and downtime. The enhanced safety, it identifies potential hazards before they lead to accidents. I talk all the time about going out on a job where I was giving a lady a bid. She was a roofer. She owned a roofing company, and she was wanting to move a laundry room out to the garage because she wanted to extend her garage, her closet into the laundry room and rebuild that. So I was giving her pricing to basically eliminate the laundry room where it was, move it over to the garage. But part of every house I walked in was a 360-degree inspection. So I tell her, hey, look, you've got two water heaters in your attic that are 14 years old and they're 6-year water heaters. So before I moved my laundry room, I'd replace those. And she's like, no, 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 you don't understand. I need a bigger closet. It's like, okay. Literally, that was on a Thursday. I told her I'd have her the estimate by Monday. She goes out of town on Friday. She calls me Monday before she ever gets the estimate. And she calls. I said, look, it's on the way. I'm still working on it. I'm waiting on some pricing. And she says, remember the two water heaters you told me about? And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, one of them ruptured. She had gone out of town. It ruptured on Friday. She didn't get back in town till late Sunday. Her living room, which was a 2-story vaulted ceiling, was in the ground floor. It had ran over into the kitchen. That was down on the floor. She had no sheetrock in her ceiling. When you walked in her house and looked up, you were walking on it. So, stuff like this, identifying problems, that's what these safety or service agreements are all about. But it also includes it also improves your client relationships because you're there every 6 months or so, and you're talking to them. And there's certain things that moves them up to the front of the line. Like if they've got an emergency sewer problem, a backup, you do special things for them. But Randy, what are the implementation steps to setting up a service agreement like this?
Honestly, it's assess the equipment. You really want to schedule regular checks. That's the major thing. That's the big sales point of this. And just like you said, if you're out there all the time, guess what? They're not dealing with anybody else because you have their maintenance schedule locked down. You want to train the staff so that your technicians are know how to bring people into this membership plan, and explain the value that the customers are going to gain, why it actually benefits them, and also document all your activities. If you go out and, like, something that I've learned over this networking things is, if you find out that that person like Roger Wakefield loves the Texas Longhorns, jot that note down in your notes somewhere, because guess what? Next time you come in, look, do a little research real quick. Hey, what have the Longhorns been doing? Oh, hey, did you catch that game the other day? Da, 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 da. And you can talk to that, because that's going to stand out with that customer even more. So documenting different activities, things that you actually do on the service itself, but then also side notes of things that you actually pick up from that customer data is huge too, and that'll help the next technician along the way.
And I love that. That is good stuff. All right, this is one of your favorite topics. We're going to move into material, equipment, and tools. And I love tools, but you're getting where this wearable technology, man, you love this stuff.
Yeah, it just, like, there was a lot of things that I used to do that it was like, man, oh, this jackhammer's heavy, and like I'm jackhammering concrete a lot because doing some different patches and repairs and things. There's so many different wearable technologies now. Exoskeleton that holds that jackhammer for me. All I got to do is let it point it where I want it to work, move my body just right to get it in position. I think that's pretty neat. Smart helmets, you know, they're working on equipment with augmented reality displays and sensors to detect fatigue and environmental hazards, so that it'll ping different things that it actually sees. And this is going to be AI involved in it, that it's notifying you about all these hazardous areas and spaces. Also, wearable sensors. We talk about the vest and things a lot,
Mhm.
that'll monitor vital signs, detect falls, and alert supervisors for potential health issues. So, and guys, it's got real time monitoring, uh, injury prevention, and all this data collection that it's just going to gain on every one of your employees. You're going to be able to actually kind of look and see who's the true machine on the job, who's not, who's that guy that barely does anything. The data's going to show. So, guys, as construction workers, better keep moving, because the data's going to be out there before long. I always blew my apprentices' minds. They're like, dude, you just don't stop. And it's like, look, I'm here to work. 8 hours work, 8 hours pay, baby. Let's get this done.
Mhm.
And that's what we
Make
push
it
for.
happen.
That's it.
I love that. Good stuff. All right. So mechanical, electrical, and plumbing,
Uh,
MEP.
Real
And
quick,
we've, oh,
these
yeah.
times are off. We want to
Oh,
thank
are
League
they?
Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. Uh, I'm Henry Wakefield, CEO of League Pro. I build the equipment and I train you if you want to come out and learn how to do it. I build two different pieces of equipment. I build a probe, which is a T-handle style. Got that stainless steel rod, real durable for probing in and out of the ground for that meter to the home service. Whenever you step in the home, though, you really want to get out that side kick. It's got an aluminum rod on it. That aluminum rod, it's less dense metal, so it enhances the sound a little more. So whenever you're actually listening through a slab, it kind of eliminates that layer of concrete to where you can still listen for the leaks below that slab. Uh, if you don't know much about it, I do a 2-day in-person training here just outside of Dallas, Texas. Come out here, I've got a slab with 11 leaks under it. Teach you how to locate all those lines, then pinpoint locate those leaks. I've got one just outside of the slab itself, so you know exactly what an underground leak sounds like also. But beyond that, we also do a sewer training on. I've got a cast iron and a PVC system set up here where you learn how to isolate branch lines from that double clean out outside of a home to determine exactly where. If you want to check out the equipment or talk about training, you can visit leak-pro.com and browse the equipment, book me for a Zoom, or if you want, just give me a call at 1-8888-PRO, and I'd be happy to discuss training or equipment.
And the neat thing about it is you can literally, if you're a plumber, you can increase the value you bring to your company. If you're a plumbing company owner, you can increase the value that you bring to your customers because you can increase your bottom line by providing the leak detection service that a lot of people can't do. So it's really, really good. When you come in for the training, you get trained on SEO and marketing too, so you know how to make your phone ring and keep your company busy. So it really is such a great thing to do. Now let's talk about MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And you've got advancements in the electrical panel technology. And we've known look, houses are getting smarter, y'all, whether you realize it or not. And if your company is not looking at everything that is smart in their industry, I mean, there's smart plumbing, there's smart HVAC, there's smart electrical. And I love that you're talking about electrical panel technology today.
Yeah, modern electrical panels are evolving to improve efficiency, diagnostics, and energy monitoring, especially in both residential and commercial construction. Don't want to forget about those either. And smart panels, okay? These allow homeowners and facility managers to monitor, control, and even shut off individual circuits remotely via an app. Remotely shut off a circuit. Do you know how nice that would be when you're in there working on your house? And guess what? I'm sure that's coming from plumbing systems too, to operate
Mhm.
all the valves in your home. Uh, arc fault and ground fault integration. AFCI and GFCI breakers are now standard in more jurisdictions, offering better protection but requiring precise wiring and setup. Uh, this is something you can become special special electrician on smart panels, going in here, rewiring homes, doing things like this to bring them up to the latest and greatest. Uh,
And I love these modular panels you've got.
mm, yeah, panels that are being designed to accommodate renewable energy tie-ins like solar and battery storage with minimal
Isn't that cool?
retrofitting. Yeah, and that's where everything's headed. I feel like most electrical panels that they're going to build into new houses and stuff are going to have a spot for a solar tie-in. Uh, that's just going to kind of become the standard as we try to make everything more efficient in the world.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk to an electrician and find out if they do that, does that mean the house already has an inverter? Or do we need to install an inverter by the panel to be able to put that in and plug that in? But man, it's just look, this is neat stuff. And to me, if you're an electrician, an HVAC tech, or a plumber, or even a roofer, and you're not looking at all these changes coming and the opportunity to be the thought leader in that industry, get out ahead of everybody else, learn it. The more you learn now, the more money you're going to make in the long run because, guys, this stuff isn't going away. It's going to keep growing and get bigger. It's like this thing called the World Wide Web. I just want to let you know it may catch on one day. So you might want to get your little ass involved in it.
Yeah. Guys, that's something I'm learning more and more hanging out with this guy and learning all these new things. If you're the first one to jump onto it and it's something that truly does take off, you will be set for life
Mhm.
without having to work hard at it because you jumped early. And that's the major difference. Get
Oh,
out there
wait,
and
don't
learn
tell
it
me I still don't work hard at it.
and be hungry.
Yeah, don't
No,
you
I
tell
mean
me I still don't
they
work
they
hard at it.
do, but I mean is what I mean. It's like as the dust settles and it's just becomes the norm, not it's new anymore. You've got less work to do because you've got more employees under you because you became that specialty person. That's
You know,
what I mean.
but here's the deal too, and I say that jokingly, and you know that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm working hard, but guys, I'm in San Diego. Uh, it's not a bad deal. I was in Utah last week. Yeah, that wasn't too bad of a deal. I was in
Uh,
Vegas.
yep,
You know, we get to go to our favorite restaurants, Randy?
we did. We did
More than once?
twice.
I know, see?
We kind of try to plan really hard to be able to swing by though. Which we do. We love the people at El Segundo. Such a great place to go
Mhm.
eat in Vegas. Uh, but like we're talking all this Internet of Things, all these smart things, stuff like that. let's move into where the work is. I thought this was a great one. Uh,
Okay.
Rural broadband installation projects. You know, we know the whole world's getting smart. Well, guess what? Even out in Utah in the rural spaces, they are working at bringing fastest internet possible. Um, as part of the U.S. infrastructure investment at Jobs Act, billions are being allocated to expand high-speed internet in rural communities. I think that's great. My mom kind of lives out in East Texas, out in the country and stuff. And guess what?
Oh,
They want
Randy, that's
smart
not out in the
devices too.
country.
Not
That's not
anymore.
out in the country. She lives out in the boonies.
Nah, yeah, I was gonna say no. Boonies is past her now because Dallas is just expanding so quick. Uh,
You know, it's funny. Somebody talked to me one day about Dallas, and I said, "Look, buy property anywhere north of Dallas, because pretty soon North Dallas is going to end at the Red River."
yeah, it it will too for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's getting there.
and that's all part of this being able to bring broadband out to those spaces and get it out there first to where they can go out and build more businesses and expand, keep growing, and have just as fast a speed as anybody deep in the heart of the city. You
So,
know,
so in order for us to move broadband up there, what all? I mean, there's got to be some opportunities for tradespeople in all kinds of different things.
I was going to say trenching and directional boring is going to be huge for this. Like anytime we get internet hooked up here, everything's underground that they bring in
Yeah.
nowadays. It's not all just overhead power lines anymore. Done it that way. Everything's underground. So trenching and directional boring is going to be huge. Electrical tie-ins and power services to be able to provide power to all this stuff and get it going. Uh, Low voltage electricians are needed to connect all the equipment and the backup system. Pole work, because a lot of rural areas they will have some work on the poles to actually feed out. Uh, so some of the rural lines often run overhead. Linemen and bucket crews are in demand for that also. That's good to know. Uh, Change that up a little, but I understand that because it's longer runs too. So I can see overhead being better. Micro trenching in urban fringe areas. As towns expand, shallow utility cuts are replacing deep digs for speed and cost. And that's what we see a lot here in our location, I feel.
You got look. There's a lot of neat stuff, but we've all got to understand, like tools, materials, equipment, technology, guys. It takes new systems to make stuff like that work each and every day. So I do. I love what you're doing. And let me ask you this: how can contractors get involved if they want to be part of this? And this is the kind of stuff that they do.
Well, I'd register as a vendor with the state broadband office and look to subcontract opportunities through AT&T, Google Fiber, and any of the state electrical co-ops. Uh, I feel like a lot of the cable companies here have a lot of third-party vendors that actually come out and do the work for them. So set yourself up through some of these larger companies and just be a vendor for them and go out and do the actual installs and work. Tell them you want to work towards expanding the services even further.
Love that. Love it. All right, so let's move into instructor training. And this is so good, but developing curriculum for smart home systems.
Man,
As more homes integrate smart tech, instructors need to prep students for both the wiring and the setup of devices like the thermostats, the lighting systems, the security system, the voice assistant and hubs like Alexa, Google, and the Apple HomeKit. Randy, I mean, this is the Jetsons.
it is. And guess what? The only way that we're going to be able to live in the Jetsons, we got to have some people that understand how to install all these components. So we are going to have to create a course, a curriculum for them to learn all the parts and pieces, how to do the setups, things like that, so that they can walk their customers through it if they need to, and they can do it themselves on the initial installs. Uh, but like it's going to be big, some hands-on practice of actually doing this, running through, troubleshooting some different issues. I think would be huge to go into a curriculum because the normal setup's pretty simple, but the main thing you want to know is what if I have an issue? I can follow most of the main instructions to a T, but if there's something to troubleshoot, that's the things that you're going to really want in this curriculum. And I feel like that goes in a lot, kind of in line with like HVAC techs, troubleshooting boilers, chillers, different units like that, because you actually have to go programming and deal with a lot of that stuff.
I like this because in your curriculum you've got things like hands-on practice, and I think that is one thing that makes the Leak Pro training amazing, because when these guys come in, they leave with the confidence of, look, I know I can do it, I've done it, and that makes great. But you use trainer boards with real devices. You walk students through pairing, resetting, and the homeowner demos, meaning don't just teach them how to do it, teach them how to teach someone else to do it. And I love that because when people get things done, it's they learn, they do, they teach. So you teach them how to teach the homeowner, and that's great. But they've got to understand wire schematics and Wi-Fi setup. So teach both electrical rough end and the final programming steps, understanding the router, the firewall issues. It's just as important. Now, I don't understand all that. I'll be honest. But when we got ready to do that at my house, I called my little brother and said, "Hey, man, I need you to come out here and do this for me because I don't do it." He's like, "Look, you can figure it out." It's like, "No, I can't. Just come on." So he came out and helped set all that up. But then the other big thing is the troubleshooting protocols. And this is just about like in any piece of equipment that you install, students should know how to diagnose issues from software glitches to power supply problems. And literally, it's a system and process. And I always go back to one of the entrepreneurs that I heard speak at an event one day. He said, anytime you do something more than once, have a process for it. And I thought, man, that is so good. And you look at this, and this is something I've talked to some of the water heater manufacturers about. Build a laminated sheet that plumbers can carry with them. So when they walk into a house, they've got a step-by-step troubleshooting sheet, how to test a water heater. And it's got the numbers where they should be, where they shouldn't be. And you do stuff like this, and they're going to buy your water heater forever because they're going to know, hey, I know how to work on this one because I've got the sheet for it right here with me. And it makes it so easy. But I love this because there's a school in Texas. You got to love that. So it's a Texas trade school. They saw increased job placement after adding a 2-week smart systems module to its electrical track, partnering with device manufacturers for updated tech. Squirt, me and you need to talk about this part right here because of everything that we talked about last week in Utah. Looking at something like this could be just wonderful. But why are smart home training essential even for traditional electricians, plumbers, or HVAC techs?
Most clients are kind of expecting these installs nowadays. So if you're the one offering them, that's going to open a door for a long time service of work and upsells. Because guess what? Newer devices are going to keep coming out, guys. And if you've got somebody that wants all this stuff, they're going to keep wanting this stuff. So you want to lock them in one of your customers, and you're maintaining their system. Walk them through the guides and teach them how to teach others. Guess what? They're not going to call anybody else. They're going to want you to come out every time and show them, walk them through that newest smart device they got. So I think that's big.
Randy, I love this because I mean, imagine what you just said. If you are my smart home guy, meaning you've come in, you've connected my washer and dryer to my refrigerator to my television to the app on the phone and all that, and you call me a month later and say, "Hey, man, there's this new thermostat out. It's going to fit right in with what you have, and it's going to be a simple install. We can hook it up, we can sync it, we can do this." And then you call back 2 months later, and hey, there's a device that we can add to your system that it will detect when your car is within 10 miles of your house, and it will send a message to your car and say, "Roger, are you headed home? Would you like me to go ahead and turn the air conditioner down to 70 degrees like you like it?" Yes, Chevrolet, go right ahead and do that. I mean, to me, that's the kind of stuff we're looking at here.
That's where we're headed. It's all definitely coming. And guys, the future's coming faster and faster every day. Uh,
All right, let's move into specialty.
I was going to say, here's one that we haven't actually talked about in a little while.
Oh, I
Installing
love
fire
this.
stop systems in multifamily projects. And guys, like specialty, there are so many different things that you can go out there and specialize in, even as simple as fire stopping. Uh, I've dealt with a lot of these crews on jobs. I've been the fire stopping guy before on some of our projects before too. I definitely prefer to sub this out because it
Hmm.
can get very messy. You will ruin a lot of clothes because when any fire
You're gonna
caulk
have that
gets on
red
something,
all over it. Yep.
that
Yes,
that
you
red
are.
does not go away. Uh, which is fine. You know, I had dedicated pants set aside just for whenever I had to do fire caulking. Um, but as building codes tighten and multifamily builds rise, contractors are seeing more demand for code compliant fire stopping. And this is big on a lot of projects. I worked on a lot of huge projects though, and fire stopping is major. I worked on a lot of hospitals, things like that, and I was always doing the mechanical room. They have to be fire rated walls pretty much all the way around them, unless it's exterior, and then they don't care too bad. Um, but a bunch of the common components here, uh, intumescent caulk expands with heat to seal openings. Uh, oh, okay, that's the ones like kind of what they lay in the cable trays and stuff is what I'm thinking, like the
Mm-hmm.
blocks that it's
Yep.
small there, but then once the heat hits, it actually expands pretty quick. Collars and wrap strips
I
installed
love
around
these.
pipes to block fire smoke transfer. Uh, those would be a whole lot easier than what we had to do with, I feel like.
Oh yeah, tubes and tubes of red
Yes.
F1 everywhere. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh, Fire blankets and pads used in electrical boxes and conduit chases. I know a lot about fire blankets. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Best practices: follow the UL listed systems for every penetration type: metal pipe, PVC, cable trays, etc. There's different rules for all these different piping stuff, and
Yes, there is.
the applications have to put. Document installations with photos. Some cities now require a visual verification. Man, that's pretty good. I like this. I dealt with a lot of systems with a lot of valves, and I was a valve tag guy. So every penetration being detailed and noted, I can completely get behind and understand. Coordinate with drywallers and MEP trades so the fire stop isn't removed or damaged during follow up work. And typically, when we subbed out fire caulk, we didn't bring them in until we were 95% complete, just about,
Yep.
because you don't want this stuff getting damaged at all. And we didn't want
You,
our
you,
guys getting near it, honestly.
we literally brought them in like 2 or 3 days before they were closing the walls. And that was literally, I mean, it, because you wanted to make sure they got in, they got it done, it didn't get affected, and then it got covered up. That way they could move right on to the next thing. And I love that. But Randy, who usually installs the fire stop on? I mean, we've been on some massive jobs and we've been on some smaller jobs. Who usually installs it these days?
A lot of times nowadays, honestly, the GC will sub that out direct. They'll get that third party fire blockers and they will just contract that portion out, and they'll tell all the MEP trades and everything, look, we've got it. You can exclude fire caulking on this one. If it's not a large project, though, it's a smaller project, a lot of the GCs may have you handle that in house. Either you can do it yourself or subcontract it out. If you're trying to do it yourself, make sure you've got all the right certifications that you are doing it
Yes.
by the book.
And we used to have our certifications. Those certifications only last a year or so, don't they? Isn't that about what it is?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Or you've got to do a refresher or something?
Say, I'm going to
Yeah,
plead
yeah,
the
okay.
fifth.
And I understand that.
I was told
I
how to
understand
do
that.
it. I'm not going to say I was quite certified
Didn't
back then,
you do until
but
how long you could do it?
but I
Okay, I
had a
get that.
certified
All
person coming behind and checking on it. Yeah.
right, no, I love that. Okay, let's roll into social media, and I love this because you got Western Welding Academy pulled up. My brother Tyler Sassy, man, he's doing great stuff.
He is. And, you know, like Guys, this isn't just a channel. They actually have a school. If you want to be a welder, you can go up there and be a welder. You will hang out with nothing but welders and fitters and stuff, and it's going to be crazy. It's a fast course compared to, I was in the union, so it was 5 years, 4 years. You got your weld cert. Up there, it's 6 months, I believe, right? I feel like.
I believe it's a
I think
6 month deal. They
from
got places for you to stay. That they are set up so good.
it is so cool. But I really love their channels because, guys, they are trying to benefit each and every one of you out there trying to weld. Some of their live shows where they'll actually pull up pictures of people's welds and things and
Mhm.
tear them apart. Okay. Like that is one thing that we like to do. I was a welder at one time, and guess what? Everybody's like, oh my God, you stack so much metal. And it's like, yeah, that's what I do. We all weld a little bit different. Send your welds in, let them pick them apart, tear into them. They are going to teach you some things from that. Like for me, a lot of my instructors like, look, just step a little faster, speed it up a little bit. It's like, man, I like to take my time and just build it up because I don't want to have to come back for extra passes if I can just lay that
Yep.
metal down now. So a little bit of everything here. Some real world instruction, like I was saying, actually teach you root passes, dig, TIG, different types of welding. Humor and culture. They do have some fun on there. They cut up, just like I was saying, put your weld in there, they'll tear into it. And we have some fun with it, guys, because we're all tradespeople. Guest
We are.
appearances.
We have fun making fun of each other.
That's it.
We do.
Like a lot of people from the outside that don't understand tradespeople and things, they don't understand how we can give each other hell so hard. And we're just laughing about it and we're having a good time. And it's not actually talking down to each other at all whatsoever. And that's
Mhm.
one of my favorites. Guest appearances. They bring in different people from all over, kind of get different perspectives of tool reviews and equipment tips. Guys, I can't tell you how much better I got at using a cutting torch just from hearing one tip from some old man. You never
Yeah.
know which tip it's going to be, but if you are paying attention to these channels and things and listening to all their tips, you might just hear that one that changes life forever and makes everything so much easier. So definitely tune in to some of these. And if you're in the trades, start your own socials. Get out there and promote yourself and what you do on a day-to-day basis. And if you've got some great tips for somebody, pass them on to them.
Now they've done some pretty popular series too, hadn't they, over on Western Welding Academy?
Yeah. Welding tips you need to know. Hard hat hustle, shop shenanigans, weld like a pro Wednesday.
I love it.
Just a variety of things.
I love it. Well, they're doing good things, and I think that they resonate with tradespeople because they're really welders teaching welders. We've had Tyler come in. While you're on this channel, you can literally go back and look where we brought him in for a podcast and interviewed him. It was really, really good. He's a great guy, and he wants to give back, and he's doing it by teaching people that want to become welders how to make good money, how to be good at it, and then they've got a placement service where they can help you find work. So there's a lot of good things going on, but it's all about being prideful, being having a personality, and then always being a professional. Now we talk about plumbing as being a professional. We have a professional license in our pocket. Some plumbers act professional, some plumbers don't. So to me, it's a big deal because you always want to look at it like, look, how can I be the most professional person in here today and do things right? So I'm constantly looking at stuff like that, but they elevate the craft and they make it fun again. So it's something that we see. It's something that we do. We love having people like that come into the show for an interview because they're doing good things, but they also make it fun. I'm gonna jump into the questions real quick. Zucchini says 8:45 here in Southern California. Yes, I know. If you look at my clock. That's because I'm right here in San Diego. And Zucchini says, I'm building a website for a local law firm this week. If AI displaces me, I'd consider HVAC. I kind of like addicts. I like addicts until it's 112 degrees in Texas and you're working on 3 different water heaters. It can wear you out. Mr. Deborah Boy, what's up, brother? Good to see you in here. Says he just got back from a 7-day trip to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. Randy and I have been down there. We know what that is all about. And it is such an amazing time. And he says the plumbing in Punta Cana is different than it is here. They install pipes above ground instead of underground. They do all kinds of crazy stuff, and we do. We completely get that. Squirt, how's the weather in sunny Saxe, Texas?
Honestly, not too bad today. I was out a little this morning at 65 degrees outside right now. So,
man, you're warmer than we are in San Diego.
Well, that's it.
Man, it's crazy. I came down. I was excited to get down here. I thought, man, this is going to be nice. It's going to be warm. It's up to 58 degrees, but they're expecting, heavy winds coming in here in the next hour or so. And I'm just like, man, another almost damp because it's been sprinkling or misting here lately. But I mean, it's in San Diego. You're close to the ocean. It's humid. It is what it is. We just get to live with it.
Just look out at the ocean and think Punta Cana. And that might warm me up.
There you go. There you go. It's great there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Leak Pro, because Leak Pro is the most precise leak detection system for plumbers. And the complete kit gives you the sidekick with the aluminum rod, which is almost like amplified hearing, because the sound transfers so good through the aluminum. It's great for walking into a house, using under a cabinet. I've had multiple leak detection systems. And I mean, you've got a big bulky unit either around your neck, strapped around your waist, or one you've got to strap over your shoulder or something. And then you've got all these wires. You got like a heavy wire coming from your headphones to the unit, then another one from the unit to the probe. And some of these things are like, 10, 15 feet long. It's like, look, I don't need anything that long. Well, Leak Pro is literally a handheld device that has a small wire going to the headphones. And really, you've got 2 controls. You've got the volume knob on your headphones and a push to make sound button on the sidekick and on the probe. Now, the probe is more like a probing rod with an amplification system built into it. So when you stick that probing rod down underground, your headphones, you get to hear what's down at the other end of it. And if there's a leak down there, you're going to find it. I love the complete kit because it comes with both of them and 2 sets of headphones to help you get the job done, and do what needs to be done. But here's the thing. A lot of people, and I'm at a conference right now about social media where you're getting all these new tools. But if you're not trained on how to use these new tools, it can be a big problem. So one thing I like about what we've done at Leak Pro, we have probably built one of the best training centers I've ever seen. We have 11 leaks under a slab. We've got another one outside the slab, but we teach you how to locate the lines. That way, a lot of people just walk in a room with leak detection equipment and just start listening to the whole room. And what we teach you how to do is trace the lines under the slab. That way, you know exactly where they're at. So when you're listening right above that line. That's probably where the leak's going to be, on the water line. So we do that. We teach you how to locate the line. We teach you how to find the leaks. But then after you're done with that, we take you over to the sewer systems that we've built, where we teach you how to isolate leaks on sewer systems, where we've built it both cast iron and PVC. And guys, here's the deal. If you're not learning stuff, your competitors are. And they're going to end up providing more value to your customers because you're like, yeah, we don't do that. We've got somebody. Yeah, I know. The companies you have are about 6 weeks out right now. So I highly recommend Leak Pro and the Leak Pro training. And then while you come in for the Leak Pro training, we'll also talk about the marketing. So you learn how to make your phone ring and make your business grow. So if you've got a business, this is something you definitely need to look at. Go to Leak Pro at www.leak-pro.com. And if you want to find out about the training, give Squirt a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. this has been a wonderful day. I love doing this. I will be in San Diego again tomorrow morning for the live stream. And then I'm headed down to Austin to go do some stuff with Brendan Burchard, Ed Milet, and it's all about growth. So, guys, whatever y'all are doing out there today, do it safe.
Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope to see you back in here tomorrow for hump day, and then it can all be downhill. Guys, get out there and hit it effing hard. See you back here tomorrow. Bye, guys.
See y'all.